Morning, everybody. 8:12 a.m. It is 10. It is October 3rd. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this crazy market. The market is crazy. It definitely is off its rocker. Very volatile. And we'll get into it, right? We'll get into it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. Use volume profile, market profile to find structure in this market. And sorry about that. And supply and demand levels, gamma exposure levels, rolling most trader price of the month, the week, the year, and try to stay on the right side of this nutso market, right? Because this market is tough, boy. It is tough. Price action is tough. We got a VIX at 18. 30-year bonds just hit a high that matched 2007. I mean, this is nuts, right? 10-year yields high. So bonds being sold again. Okay, so a lot of stuff going on here. All right, a lot of stuff going on. Have a lot of news to talk about. All right, so we should get right into it. All right, we're gonna get right into this. Get right into the watch list. Okay. Appreciate it if you follow me on X or Twitter, Gonzo719. Of course, if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. All right, if you like what you see, hopefully you do. Okay, let's get right over to the watch list here. Not sure if anybody new's here today. Welcome if you are. Or if it's some old standbys, we got Colby, Rosita, Rian. Saw somebody else in the chat yesterday. Enjoyed it, so hopefully they returned, and we'll get right into it. The VIX is up 4.83%. 18.46. We just had a recent, kind of like a, not a sell, yeah, kind of like a sell-off candle, but dollar up to 107. That dollar went from 99 up to 107, broke that 105.88 level, broke the 106. I have to look at that again on the chart. Okay, 10-year yield is going to rise again. Are we headed for 5? Let's see. Gold is pulling back. Okay, down 0.23. Dow is down 0.43. Silver is down 0.47. Russell down 0.49. ES down 0.51. Crude's down 0.53. Is that dollar? See, crude's at 88. See, the dollar goes higher. That is not good for crude. Okay, crude's based in dollars. Okay, Nasdaq's down 0.65. Bonds down 0.67. Ether down 0.137, and Bitcoin's down 1.79. Okay, let's move on to the stocks I like to day trade and swing trade. Okay, Nvidia holding on by a thread, up 0.15. That's really it. Now Boeing's interesting this morning. Boeing got a price target cut to 230, but then it just mentions that it's gonna break records of selling about 57 jets a month, which is kind of bullish, right? And if you look at the chart of Boeing, it's been beaten down. All right, look at utilities, and utilities got smacked, but industrial, look at that chart. Okay, so Boeing's been beaten, right? It's down to a key level. All right, let's see if that possibly can catch a bid. Not sure though. All right, Meta's in the news as well. Meta is looking to possibly charge for ad-free Instagram. So that should cause, that should make some nice revenue for them. All right, now let's just go into the laggards of the laggards. We got Amazon down 0.9. We got AMD down 0.98. Okay, AMD 102 is a key level for AMD. Okay, 102 is a key level. Tesla's got a bunch of mixed messages this morning. Tesla has gotten 2 price target cuts and a price target raise, but the cuts seem to be what's hurting them. BABA, China had a bad day in the markets. okay, with bond yields rising, along with the Europe session. Both they had weak session as well. It's kind of carrying maybe over into our session. Okay, let's see what else do I have here. Google got a price target cut, but only for $1. It's not that significant. Nvidia actually got a price target raise to 750. That's why it's probably a leader. Okay, and it's not much of a leader. All right, moving on. Moving on here. Okay, United Healthcare. It's pretty much flat right now, but that's kind of on the move, right? Even though healthcare is down to the key level that I spoke about 129, 128, that is a good buy point in healthcare if it holds. Okay, United Healthcare has kind of been really leading the pack. It has earnings coming up. I do have a covered call on here. I own United Healthcare, so trying to stave off a little bit, even though the cover call is risk free basically. But hoping it stays under my 530 strike here before earnings come out. All right, so McDonald's hit a key level yesterday as well. Let's go to laggards. Of this list, Qualcomm, Salesforce, and Roblox, the typical tech of this list usually falling. Now, it's just interesting because Staples been taking a dive, healthcare has been taking a dive, which is interesting, right? Interesting because those are more defensive, recession-proof stocks. Utilities got destroyed, okay, from bad news on NEP and yields rising. It's going to hurt utilities. Okay, that's going to hurt utilities. So it's a very interesting market right now. Okay, so sectors. Now everything's negative right now, even including healthcare, which is the leader. So you have defensive leaders here, which is not, they're negative. So I'm just saying they're all defensives. Okay, the bottom of the pack, utilities though, is defensive, but like I said, with these yields rising, and people usually flock to them for their dividends, and they're not that volatile. Well, they just broke big time to the downside. Okay, I'm probably looking to nibble. Again, not financial advice for me. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just saying what I'm going to do. Technology down at 0.59 and financials. Okay, remember the heavyweight sectors. The heavyweight sectors are, let me see if I can pull this up here. Give me a sec here. I can probably show you this. 1 second here. Boom. Okay. So notice right in here, these are the sector weights. I just want to make sure everybody understands why I talk about these top four. All right. So the S&P, Infotech's 27.5% of the S&P. That's a heavy sector. Okay. That's what's going to move our market. Second is healthcare, at 13.4% of the S&P. Okay. Financials, 12.8 of the S&P. And then the fourth one is discretionary, 10.7. Now, obviously, Infotech is Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, okay? Healthcare, United Healthcare, Merck, those type of companies, Johnson & Johnson, financials, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, right? And consumer discretionary, that's your Amazon, Tesla, and Home Depot. So those are the sectors that move our markets, okay? As you go down the line, communications, industrial, staples, they don't move the market. So I always, now these little bubbles here give me what each sector does from the open every day when the market opens, from the open, what they do. So you can see yesterday it was mixed. You see how financials was red, Infotech was up 1%. That's that Qs were strong yesterday, and financials were weak, right? And then you see the rest of these were red. So very mixed. That's the SPY. That's basically a look at the SPY. Okay. Now, obviously, tech is Qs, very cute. Like basically, consumer discretionary and communications and infotech basically drive that. I just wanted to show you guys that. Okay, give me one sec here while I pull up. Okay, now let's move out of that. I spent a little too much time on that, but I wanted to show you guys that. I'm going to get into some market news really quickly, which I already touched on, but here we go. Okay, here's the news coming out right now. We got Fed policymakers see rates staying high for some time. Okay, that it's not helping the market. There's the Boeing sets record 737 production goal for July. That's why I'm saying Boeing got a price target cut, but they're going to set a record. Okay, so that's then Meta. We already talked about options for the EU user ad-free subscriptions. Then it looks like Republican U.S. Rep Matt Gaetz is looking to oust McCarthy as a speaker. Okay, those are the headlines right now. That's really all I wanted to talk about there. Now, as far as the economic calendar today, Fed Bostic is speaking now. We got JOLTS jobs openings at 10 a.m. Okay, so be aware of that at 10 a.m. to not enter a trade. Okay, what do we have here? Nothing really. Fed Mester is really who was talking about higher rates are needed to make sure disinflation continues. Right there. Okay, right there. That's kind of like what is not good. And 30-year bonds have hit highs seen in 2007 right now. Okay, that's what's going on. Now, one other thing I wanted to show you that's very interesting, and usually the market always does the opposite what everybody thinks. Now, this is I give credit to Macrovisor. You can follow Mayhem of Markets. Okay, he put this chart. Now, very cool chart. It says soft landing hopes and hard landing realities. Optimism tends to peak before downturn hits. Now it says the dark colored bars are when the number of news articles mention soft landing. Now what it's really, and then the light gray box right here is a recession. So notice how many articles really tend to peak with soft landing articles, and then we go into recession every time, right? Well, this is now. This is now. I'm not calling for a recession. I'm just saying if history repeats itself, 2024 most likely go into recession. Okay? Just thought that was really a cool chart to show you guys. Okay? Now, let's move on. Okay, let's move on to the daily charts. A couple things I wanted to show you guys there as well. All right, let's move right into the daily charts. All right, now here's the SPY. Okay, now we could really look at, let's really zoom in here to look at this market together. Okay, so we have this downtrend line that's intact. Okay, that has not been violated yet. Okay, this is a long-term uptrend line that really hasn't spent too much time below it. Okay, now the only thing I want to call your attention to is this fib from this sell-off, this candle, and then has a gap, and we went down. Okay, the SPY is only able to really, when it came down here, retrace up to the 38.2 fib, and then it couldn't hold it, right? So it's a very shallow pullback. It's a very shallow pullback. Okay, here's 50% is at 433.36. 61.8 is the last line of defense usually, and that's 435.90, 436 basically. Look how weak. There really hasn't been a pullback that's that much juice in it, right? If you look at it this way. Okay, where are we at right now? We're 425.35. We are 425.35. We're at the lower portion of yesterday's range. Okay, this market doesn't know what it wants right now. Okay, especially SPY, because it's very mixed. Okay, very, very mixed. So We have an excess put in here, this candle. If this needs to really get taken out to maybe see some downside, right? Because we're holding this excess candle. If we keep mulling around, we're kind of setting a balance and we're going to have a big move. Okay, let's move on to the Qs. Have the same thing on here, and I want to show you the difference in the strength of the Qs. Okay, so this downtrend line was broken. Okay, it was broken, but then it came over. But then yesterday we closed above it. Okay, and we kind of put a double top in. So 100-day moving average is acting as resistance. What else is the resistance? Okay, look at this move here. Broke all the way down to this excess low, but check out the Qs. It has actually retraced twice the 50% Fibonacci and went over it, but can't hold it. Okay, what else is here? Why is this getting resistance? Well, there's a gap here, right? So let's go to my other drawing here. Here's that gap. That's been acting as resistance. Okay, both times. Partially filled it here because the gap was here. Partially filled it and sold off. Yesterday, look, opened here, came up to last week's highs and the 100-day moving average. A lot of confluence there. Sold off and closed here. Where's the Qs now? 359.30. 359.30. We are at the lower third of the session of yesterday. Okay, so now look, almost 2 candles. This is an inside candle of Friday. So we're setting up the balancer. Now, what do you have? And I'm not a big guy in patterns, but you do have an inverse head and shoulders here. You have a shoulder, a head, and the neckline, let's call it either 362, 361. More like 362, but if you want to get really technical, probably 361.50. Inverse head and shoulders, that's a bullish pattern, right? So doesn't mean we can't go down. I'm just mentioning it because it's pretty apparent. You can see that. Okay, that's pretty apparent. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you there. Now this 10-year yield, which has been a monster, right? The triple-headed monster that I like to talk about. Look at this. Gapping up, right? Gapping up. Reached 4.7 yield on a 10-year. This is going to put a lot of pressure on stocks, especially tech stocks, okay? Higher borrowing costs, like this is just not usually good, okay? And if people can get almost 5% yield, they're going to do it over taking risk in the stock market, right? So that's how that works. So let's look at that VIX, that fear indicator of a month out. We are holding. We're at 18.4, right? Yesterday we made a high here. Well, let's see if we start making it up into the 20s, this market's going to get nuts. So keep an eye on that. There is fear in the market again. All right, let's go to the dollar. That dollar in that key levels. Key levels, okay? That 1588, let's back it up a little bit. That 1588, clear was a resistance. Here. Boom, we broke it, right? But then we pulled back. But now look, the next level of resistance was 106.746, and we are breaking that. And this, my express chart right here, this is last month's highs. We are over it. So the dollar's catching a bid. Obviously the euro, the yen are probably diving, okay? Okay, that is that. Let's move on. Let's move on to the structure that I like to talk about in the market profile and the volume profile, okay? Let's go right to that. All right. What is this looking to everybody like? All right. What is this looking like? Not sure who's watching or if anybody is. But if you are, the first thing I always look at, without having to look at anything, is my profile here. This is the rolling week. Look at this. That's balance. That's a bell-shaped curve. That's balance. Where's price? Right here. 4,300, call it. Okay? So we got balance here. We got the most traded price right in the middle of that balance, 43.25. 43.25. Okay? So now what might happen today is moving the most traded price of the month might move down here, which would be ultimate balance, which is when a monster move happens. Okay, once that most traded price of the month works its way down, which it's about to, okay, that is monster balance, and we're getting ready to really queue up a huge move. Okay, now let's look at the next thing we look at. Okay, what do we look at next? Inventory. So the overnight session happened here. We have this much long to this much short. Okay, we're about 75% net short right now, and we're at the bottom of the range. Okay, we're almost at yesterday's lows. Okay, so that's advantageous for a reversal. We're in demand zone. Okay, if you don't think this market's going to break down, right, then you have a chance to go to the other side of this little balance. Okay, let's look at yesterday. Yesterday's high, yesterday's low. Excuse me. Now you have overnight highs almost at yesterday's high, so you can call that a weak high. Okay, now we have overnight low almost by yesterday's lows. So this whole session's pretty much equal to yesterday, the overnight. We have single prints. What's single prints? Emotional selling or emotional buying with not a lot of volume. Okay, those are not, as far as this will not offer much resistance if market moves higher. Okay, this is all market profile, volume profile terminology. Okay, now let's look at potential scenarios, because we have two overnight and in the overnight and the RTH session are pretty much equivalent. All right, and you have demand zone underneath here. Okay, now what do we have in the middle here? So usually this is very resistant or very supportive, this most traded price. Okay, but since it's in the middle of balance, you tend to go over it, go through it a little bit either way. Okay, just because you're going to have shorts from here who are short, right? And then they're going to take profit at the other end of balance, which is going to then have longs come in, and they're going to possibly go back, right? That's why balance works like that. Okay, and this is just the tipping point. Okay, so today, look at outside in trading, unless you get a breakdown or a breakout. Okay, so this is what I see. Now there's probably supply up here now that I'm looking at it, because we made a break, so I haven't been able to update that yet. Okay, so let's just get into it anyway. Let's get into the scenario. So first I'm going to go for the bullish scenario. So whenever you have this balance, you look for outside in trading, right? So outside in just means you want to go to an extreme, and then you go against it and go revert to the mean. All right, the mean is here or the other side of balance. So we are over net 75% net short in the inventory. Okay, so we know we got shorts up there, shorts up here. Okay, you need liquidity for the markets to move. All right, I talked about that reversal yesterday. That did happen early on. It happened. You got that reversal. You got that bear trap. So it's kind of similar right now. Okay, so you have a demand zone. So what we could see here is a push, take out yesterday's lows, you're into another demand zone, and you could see, if you see this market rip through that open and hold, start making higher lows, you're gonna at least go to here. You also got monthly VWAP here, got yesterday's most traded price, and if you take that out, you're gonna go to probably test, okay, because now you got that weakish high here. If you push through that, you go to the 9 EMA daily, and then you have a supply zone up here. Okay, do you push through to this naked VPAC up here? I don't know. Anything's possible in this market. Okay, that's what I really see for a bullish case. Moving on to the bearish case. All right, so now let's go to a bearish case. Okay, bearish case. Obviously, what could we do? We could push down, hold under here, and you could fall to this naked VPOC.
What'd you say?
Just go sit down.
Go sit down.
All right. So other thing you could see here, okay, if you get that reversal, this could act as resistance. Okay, this could, and then you could roll over here. Okay. Other option is we come all the way up here into this supply, lower high, and then we go back to the mean, possibly go back to the other side of balance. That's what I see in the ES. Okay. Now let's go over to the NASDAQ. That's been a little stronger. However, it's weaker today, pre-market. Okay. Let's look at this together. What do we have here as far as a profile for the week? Got some excess at the top. Then we got a lot of volume distribution followed by a little low volume node, little tiny distribution down to some excess. Okay. Now, this is a different story. Okay, if you notice the profile, it kind of has a little bit of a bullish imbalance, which just means not a lot of excess to the top. This would be a completed profile like that. So it has room to move higher. Okay. Second thing we look at is the most traded price of the week is right here. Price is right here at 14873. Okay, so we're below the most traded price of the week, but just barely. Okay, so it's the job of the NASDAQ, okay, to hold this bracket right here and this low volume node. It needs to hold this around 148.20. It needs to hold this level in demand. Okay? Because you got weak lows here. This breaks, you got single prints underneath, you could fall. If it holds, that's bullish. Okay, you're in demand right now. Okay, you have a bullish imbalance. Now look, that they call that a bull flag. I don't really look into the bull flags, but that's, obviously that's what it is. Okay, now let's look at inventory. There's our longs, there's shorts here. Again, about 75% net short. We're at the bottom of the range. You have single prints just like the ES. Okay, so pretty similar here. We're in demand. So let's go over scenarios. Okay, and then I'm going to get out of here. Okay, so you want to see or underneath this, which technically is bearish. Okay, underneath the most traded price, but this is the real test. Like I said, even if it comes down here, hits those single prints, recovers, probably stops here and then move higher to this other end. All right, now this other end has supply. This is where the Qs have been hitting that gap zone and getting resistance 3 times. Well, if it comes up in there and knocks again, boom, you could get the momentum to push it up to fill that gap. Does that happen? I don't know. Right? You could, that would be the bullish play. Okay, that could possibly happen. Now the bearish scenario could come down here, and like I said, if it breaks through here, okay, and holds and holds and holds, well, you're probably going to go and test this here, that low, and then you possibly could fall farther. Don't know if that happens. Okay, that's one. Another thing is, like I said, you can come up to the other end of this supply and again try to touch it and fall again, and then you're just in balance again. Okay, that's what I see. What's going on today? Okay, that's going to be it for me today. Okay, subscribe, set an alert if you can. That'd be much appreciated. If you like what you saw, you can give me a big thumbs up, a like. All right, you can also follow me on X at Gonzo719. We got our scenarios, we got our plan, we got our structure, and then you just follow what the market does. Right now I see the market pushing down a little lower. That's good. All right. All right, everybody. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.